If you've seen the video on why you need an optimal functioning plan, this is not that same precedence, but what we want to focus on today is how to actually create that optimal functioning plan so that you can have digestible pieces of action that are just one simple step away from you creating a habit that could change your life. And what we want to focus on is, first of all, I just want to recap the theory of the optimal functioning plan so that we can start to create it, right? So just real quick recap, and I'm not going to go into depth with it because I do have a separate video on that, but we all start in our comfort zone, and this is when we're not losing any weight. We're just going about our day-to-day, going through the motions. And in the comfort zone, we end up getting motivated to take action, right? And so what we do is we set this big, crazy, hairy, audacious goal, and we set it so far away usually from our comfort zone that we end up adding a million things to our schedule that end up just bogging us down with anxiety and nervousness about how the heck we're actually going to achieve all these new things that are going to set us forth in our actions to get healthy. And so what we end up doing is we set that goal way out there, that's that black dot, and we end up going into we may lose 10 pounds or 20 pounds, but in 3 or 4 weeks, we'll end up getting burnt out, stressed out, and fatigued in that over-functioning zone. And so what we normally happens is say we need to go back to basics, and we go back to inside our comfort zone, but actually into this smaller area of the comfort zone we call under-functioning, because before we end up getting back to basics, normally we end up, saying, I just need to relax for a little bit. And so for a weekend or a week or 2 weeks or maybe 3 weeks, we end up not doing anything, watching movies and eating pizza and just, quote unquote, relaxing. And so what we end up doing is going through this vicious cycle of comfort zone, over-functioning, under-functioning. And this is the yo-yo cycle of our health, gain 20 pounds, lose 20 pounds kind of cycle. And, to get us out of that cycle and really make our health and our results last, we end up needing the perfect balance of knowledge, resources, and environment so that we can set our goals just slightly outside of the comfort zone and take it one step at a time, a digestible piece, a game that we can win, a definite action that we can take day in and day out to expand our comfort zone in our fitness, our nutrition, our pain management, our sleep, our stress, our social stress, our just our day-to-day balance of health. And so we pick one thing at a time. And what we do is we like to call it our optimal functioning plan, where we start to set forth actions that we can take 1 week at a time. And so today's purpose of this video, after that lengthy introduction, is to set up this optimal functioning plan. So if your big, crazy goal is to lose 25 pounds and keep it off for good, that's a great goal, right? It's measurable, it's positive, it's realistic that it can happen, but what we also need is motivation that's going to keep us moving forward in those actions. And a lot of times whenever I'm working with these women, and again, I specialize in working with women 40 to 65, 70 sometimes, to help them, lose more than 25 pounds and actually keep it off for good. And usually there's family motivations behind there so that they can, and you can insert blank here, do the things you love with the people that you love. All right, and so, usually that is the motivation behind it. But if you're more, career focused, that could be something. If you're more adventure focused, that could be something as well. So whatever that is, at least you have you have to have a motivation there, because that's what you're going to fall back on when, the going gets tough. And I'm sure that, everybody has good days and bad days. And what we need to do whenever we have those bad days is fall back on the reasons why we are getting healthy, the reasons why we need to keep it off this time, the reasons why we have to stop the yo-yo cycle for our mindset, for our health. And so what I like to focus on is 3 areas. One is your fitness, your movement. This could also be where your pain management or your ending of your pain happens, right? And so your fitness could be, whenever you're getting started, depends on what it is, but let's say it's 3 days of strength and 1 day of cardio, right? And those would be some basics that I would typically hear. But also what we want to do is make sure that those are measurable. So maybe that's 30 to 60 minutes of strength, and maybe it's 20 minutes of cardio. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want to set up the days to be able to go back and measure. And we're going to check our OFP on a daily basis. And so, I'm going to put, if I have 3 days of strength, I'm going to put 1, 2, and 3. And then each day, whenever I go back and I review, either at the beginning of the next day or the end of the day that I'm on, I'm going to go back and I can actually, cross that off. And obviously I can't do it on the computer, but I'll put a little X to it there, right? And so I can cross it off and I can see. Now, at the end of the week, whenever I go to score, I'll end up having my total. Maybe I'll just skip that and go to the next part. So in your nutrition, what we want to do is we want to go in and we want to say, okay, I need what are my basics, right? So if I'm getting started, I need my 4 to 6 cups of fruits and veggies. For our fiber, our phytonutrients, our micronutrients, right? And I need that at least 6 days a week, right? And so I'm going to put my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then whenever I go back, I can cross those off. What else do I need? I need half my body weight in ounces of water. Or maybe that's not a game you can win. Maybe you need 12 more ounces of water today than yesterday, which could end up being, 75 ounces or something like that, right? Then how many days? Well, water is super important, so maybe we'll go with 7 days. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then your wellness, which is, you can chalk it up to stress management, sleep management, recovery. I like to focus on these areas of hope, play, contribution, mindfulness. For recovery, this is where our rejuvenation, our regeneration of energy happens, right? And so maybe just reviewing my OFP every day. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 there. And taking a time to stretch and meditate, or just listen to music, or read, or whatever that mindfulness is for you, something that brings you in focus of your body and your well-being, right? And getting rid of the thoughts of everything that's happening outside of your body, everything that's happening in your environment, everything that's happening with your family. Whenever we focus on mindfulness, we're focusing of ourself. Right? And so what I want to do is, again, it's games that you can win. So whenever I take my total, I'm going to count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. And that is going to be my total. So right now I have a total of 28. And every day I'm going to go back and I'm going to cross off if I did my action that I laid out for myself, all right? So I ate four cups of fruits and veggies on Monday, and I had 12 more ounces of water, which equals 75 ounces on Monday. And I reviewed my OFP, and I stretched and I meditated, and I focused on myself and my recovery, right? At the end of the week, I'm going to end up with a score. Maybe that score is a 20. So I got a 23 out of 28, which I believe is somewhere around 80-ish%. I'm not good with quick math. But what I noticed maybe is that I completely bombed on my 12 ounces of water. Maybe I got 1, 2. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but I only got 1 and 2. So next week, my game that I could possibly win might end up being 4 and not 7. And then my total score is going to end up being a different number based off of where I am. Can I add? Maybe I got all my days of strength training, right? And so my next achievable game that I can win is going to be actually adding a 4th day, right? But again, in the water, I didn't do so well, so I subtracted. Again, it's about digestible pieces that we know that we can make into a habit, and then we adjust this score on a weekly basis. So that is how we plan consistency. That is how we plan accountability, self-accountability, and even better if you have a coach watching out for you for social accountability and for coaching accountability. Again, the optimal functioning plan has to do with your goals and your motivations. You set it up into games that you can win, how many days a week you can make it happen, and then you have your score yourself on a weekly basis and readjust these numbers as you need to until you end up getting where you need to be. Now, another thing that a coach can definitely make better for you is actually picking out these actions, because they have the resources and the environment to know what is right for you. And so if you don't have an idea of where to start, obviously more than glad to help you out. You can reach me on social media at coach_Ryan_Wade on Instagram, as well as Inner Strength Physio Fitness Athletics on Facebook, or you can reach me at ryan@wadetrained.com in an email, whatever you want to do. And I'd be more than happy to help you set up your optimal functioning plan and help you getting set up with a game you can win in your health to make your health last forever.